What's going on, guys? Venomousfatman here, and I got a brand new segment of The Verdict for you. This time I'm talking about the brand new release that just came out yesterday, The Green Lantern, starring Ryan Renolds as Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern. So, here's pretty much the rundown of this movie. For all those guys out there that don't know pretty much a lot about the Green Lantern mythology and the origin story of Hal Jordan, who is the original Green Lantern, here's the rundown. Hal Jordan was originally an actual ace pilot that was, doing a whole bunch of stuff for the military, and he comes into contact with this alien named Albin Sur. Albin Sur was one of the legendary Green Lanterns that helped, the Green Lantern Corps accomplish a lot of their intergalactic duties per se. They're kind of like an intergalactic police, if you will. Their main idea is to promote peace and stability throughout the entire galaxy. So upon coming into contact with him, Albin Sur is actually wounded and he's dying. So he actually has his Green Lantern ring that he passes it on to him. Technically, the actual ring itself, the power of the Green Lantern Corps chooses Hal as its next successor. So when he dies, he actually becomes the Green Lantern. He goes to Oa and a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, that gets into more of the movie territory where, you guys could go see the movie. But more on that later. So pretty much this is the rundown of it. Green Lantern was a decent movie. I have to say it wasn't living up to a lot of the hype that a lot of people were giving it, because Ryan Reynolds, has been getting a lot of street cred on the comic scene because he played Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine. He was going to do this role, and a lot of people are expecting and kind of, hyping him up to do the next, his next superhero movie, which is supposed to be Deadpool. There's a lot of hype and a lot of publicity behind that, a lot of word going around. But as far as him playing Hal Jordan, honest to God, I believe, in all honesty, he was a pretty decent. He added a little more of a comedy flair to it because he has a comedy background to him. I thought there was a lot of funny moments, a lot of moments I did not expect, a lot of different kind of slapstick humor here and there. There was a lot of different scenes, especially towards the beginning of the movie before he even runs into Albin Sur, where there's a lot of cute moments he has and a lot of, hilarious moments with him interacting with some of his family members and stuff. That was pretty cool. The CG is top notch in this movie. You gotta hand it to Warner Brothers. They really went all out on the CG for this movie in DC. The action sequences, great choreography, great planning, great, staging here and there. Really, really well done. I love some of the scenes when Hal is actually training with some of the Green Lantern Corps. I thought those were pretty both humorous and really cool looking. A lot of different, little action sequences, little fights here and there. When he's actually fighting the main villains, or villains I should say, not just one villain. There's Hector Hammond, which is a classic Green Lantern villain if you guys have read the comics before, and also Parallax, which is pretty much the power of the Yellow Lantern, or pretty much the yellow light, which is the only really big weakness to the Green Lantern's power, which is green light. So, two major villains, Hector Hammond and Parallax. The fight sequences between those guys, some of them for Hector Hammond weren't as good, because they were obviously setting a bunch of stuff up. But with Parallax, I thought that was the best parts of the movie as far as action sequences are concerned. The different scenes and areas where he's actually flying around, putting his ring up and actually flying around different areas, either both on Earth and on Oa. Yes, they do go to Oa. And those looked pretty cool. I love the actual CG. A lot of people made a big deal about the suit, but to be honest with you, it did not bug me as much because everybody that was, part of the Green Lantern Corps had a pretty decent, good-looking suit. It was pretty cool because he has the lantern symbol on his chest, and there's like fire going all over the place. Kind of like similar how they were making the logo out to be, when the trailers were coming out. I thought that looked pretty cool. That was something interesting that I've never seen done before with a superhero's actual suit. I know we have Iron Man that has the growing light, but actual moving fire that, has its own kind of properties and stuff, that looked pretty cool. I thought that was awesome. Really good kind of like artistic take on the suit. But moving on from that, overall, a lot of those different scenes with the action, the choreography, the humor, pretty damn good. And they really kind of got the origin story down, per se. They did a lot. They touched on a lot of different stuff, on a lot of different takes on the Green Lantern mythology and his actual, origin story. Because there's plenty of other lanterns, but the real, original Green Lantern was Hal Jordan. That's the one that a lot of people resonate with from the Silver Age of comics. So I thought they did a decent job for it. Now, some of the negatives. There are quite a few negatives, and they really kind of hound down on this movie and prevent it from being a really great movie. And it's a lot of stupid little mistakes in my opinion. Number one, especially in the beginning of the movie towards the end, there's a lot of characters that we see for like very brief moments in time and we never see again. Case in point, we see Hal Jordan's family really briefly. We see a young boy that kind of, almost kind of, I guess you could say, reminds Hal Jordan of himself when he was younger, being, enamored with actual planes and aviation and stuff because his father was a fighter jet pilot. That was pretty interesting. I thought that really gave a lot of depth to Ryan Reynolds' character of Hal Jordan. But the problem is, like I said, you don't see those characters anymore towards like the middle or the end of the movie. You see him in like not even a couple seconds in the beginning in a section where he actually comes home before he meets Abin Sur, and you never hear about them again. There's a couple other characters here and there. I know there's a point where we actually meet the black lady. What the hell is her name? Oh, damn. They said her name during the movie, but she's actually part of the government, the U.S. government, that's kind of like not really working against, but kind of like an anti-hero per se. She's actually doing stuff for the greater good, but she works for the government, and she kind of has head-on collisions with a lot of the superheroes in the DC universe. Her name escapes me now at the moment, but if you guys know who exactly I'm talking about, feel free to put it in the comment section below so everybody, is on the same page. But she's in there. She actually has a couple of good dialogue sequences with Hector Hammond, as well as a couple other people, involved with Hector Hammond and the government. But as soon as, certain stuff happens, certain events go down, you never hear about her again. She was just it felt like she was shoehorned in there, as well as a couple other characters. And that also brings me to the Green Lantern Corps. The Green Lantern Corps make an appearance, okay? They actually are there. They train Hal Jordan and stuff like that. But you never actually see them engage really engage Parallax. There's some sequences where Parallax kills a couple there, but you never see, you see Sinestro come into contact with him, but you never see, not Norrin Rad, it's a little hard for me because I've read some of the comics, but they were read so long ago and I haven't really kept up with the mythology. But the really big dude that really kind of trains Hal Jordan, I forgot his name, he appears like once in a really funny sequences. I think he was voiced by Michael Clark Duncan. I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but he's in a couple sequences there, but you never see him fight Parallax. You never see this fish-looking guy. He actually teaches Hal Jordan about how to fly and kind of like the basics about his ring. You only see him in a couple sequences. You never see him fight Parallax or really get into any sort of combat per se. There's a couple other Green Lanterns, I should say, that people will recognize from the comics that are in little different scenes in OA, but you will never actually see them go into action, which kind of does suck because that was a really big marketing ploy behind it. And I understand the stories about Hal Jordan, but if you're going to have characters in there in a movie and they give them screen time, they have to have some sort of much more bigger kind of influence on the overall plot, or really big influence on the actual character as he grows, the main character, the protagonist. So I felt that was selling the Green Lantern Corps short. It would have been awesome to see them come to Earth and actually help Hal Jordan out. That would have been cool. It would have made a great finale, and that would have been amazing, but they kind of fell short on that. Now, some of the other problems that I had, there was a couple little kind of like little plot holes here and there. I thought it was a little bit funny, but also stupid at the same time, how Hal Jordan's identity is revealed. Spoilers alert for anybody that doesn't know, that hasn't seen the movie yet, but there's a section in there where Hal Jordan's identity is revealed, and it was kind of done in a cheesy kind of way. There were some giggles in the movie theater where I was at, but overall myself, I was thinking like, what, that was kind of like, little kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of, just thrown in there, just to kind of, get away from that whole thing where he has the mask and stuff. But it didn't take away from the overall movie experience. That's one thing that you have to understand about this movie. Even though it's not a great movie, it's probably not going to be as good as like something like Captain America later this year, but it's still a decent fun ride. And if you just go in there and just roll with it, you'll have a decent time. So overall, the Green Lantern was pretty decent. I liked it. It was really enjoyable. A great summer blockbuster. Not an awesome movie, superhero movies. I still believe that DC has a ways to go to get out of that whole Dark Knight syndrome. Marvel is really the company, or the comic company, that's really doing a lot and really getting the most out of their superheroes on the live action big screen. But I still also think that DC is also the king of the animated world. So even though I appreciate their live action movies, I still think they do the animated movies much better. But that's just my opinion, guys. Leave your comments and video responses. I don't mind. Just keep it civil. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. If you actually have seen it, if you went to the midnight showing or whatnot, tell us about your experience when you went to the movie theater, how you enjoyed this movie. If you're a Green Lantern purist, talk a little bit about some of the specific stuff you noticed in that movie, because a lot of people like to do that now, where, if they've really kind of gotten in depth with the comics, they talk about what was different about the movies and stuff. Put in the comment section below. I encourage that. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. This has been The Verdict. I'm VFM. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace, people.